And a very pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk, where we talk all things Brevard College Tornado Athletics. Glad you're able to join us this evening. Have an exciting show on tap. We're going to talk a lot of basketball, a lot of happenings with the men's and women's basketball programs, and we'll also check in with Director of Athletics, Miranda Nash. So we're going to get right to it here. We're going to bring in our first guest of the evening, head coach Donald Hudson from the women's basketball program. Coach Hudson, how are you?
I'm all good, Phil. Thanks for having me, man. Once again, always good to be on.
Yeah, outstanding. Great to have you on. And, coming off a win over the weekend, 66-46 over Salem. For those who might not have had the chance to tune into the stream there, can you catch us up on how that game transpired?
Saturday tip, 2 p.m. First road Saturday for us. So things were kind of different. We boarded our vans and drove over, got there in good enough time for the girls to get in the gym and get some shots in a foreign gym. In a game that I think we played much better in the second half than we did in the first half. Played a lot of zone against a team that really, really likes to drive and eat up the paint. And I thought we did a really good job of taking away what they do best. They have some guards and a four-man that are really, really crafty and really want to do everything going toward the basket. So our main thing going into that game was to make them beat us over the top from three. We didn't think they could do that consistently throughout a 40-minute game. They made a few in the second half, but overall, I think our zone really worked. Our length kind of bothered them some. We got a lot of deflections. We're able to contest a good amount of their shots around the basket. And we made it tough on them. I think it was a 10-point game going into the half. We made a few adjustments against what they were trying to do to us. They were pressuring us some and played a 3-2 zone against us. And we were prepared for it coming out of the second half and able to come away with a 20-point victory, able to execute some of our stuff. It was really good to play that zone for extended minutes. You just never know when you're going to need it. And I think it's in our bag now. We've played a good amount of it, and we understand the rotations. And when the ball goes to a certain spot, I need to be here, there, and how we rotate out of it when the ball gets out of puncture spots in our zone.
And, Coach, it had to be important to come up with a win like that on the road, a business trip coming off that loss to NC Wesleyan, the number one preseason ranked team in the USA South Conference, a very tough team. And for the Tornadoes able to bounce right back, get the win on the road, that's big coming off that NC Wesleyan game.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about as a group is trying not to lose two in a row. We dropped one at home. That was a winnable game for us. We just didn't shoot it well. We didn't put the ball in the basket, missed a lot of shots that we normally make. And kudos to them. Kudos to Wesleyan. They came in, they played a solid game and got out of here with a victory. But after that game, we wanted to turn the page quickly and move on to Salem. And we went down and got a conference win on the road. And those are tough, no matter who you're playing.
And it brings the record currently to 5-2 overall, 2-1 in the USA South Conference, 7 games into this regular season. Coach, this is the last time we're going to have the chance to catch up with you until the new year. We're going to enjoy the holidays here on Tornado Talk for a little while. But, can you give us a little state of the union, 7 games into the season? Where do you feel this team's at?
I like where we are, Phil. The 2 losses have come to teams that are really good teams. We haven't lost to anyone that we just wouldn't say was a bad team. Like both teams kind of beat us. They played well. They did what they did, and we came away with 2 L's. But I like where the team is. We're still gaining rhythm and finding out who plays well together, figuring out the rotation. Coach AB and myself are still figuring out some stuff about this group. But I like where we are. We're rebounding well. We're defending at a high level. I have some numbers that I'm going to give to the team today just to kind of – it's ironic that you asked me that – just to kind of let the team know where we are, as far as points per game and rebounds per game. And I think right now some of those numbers would say we're playing decent basketball. There's always room to improve, and we're about to head in practice here in a little bit and work on some of that stuff. But overall, Phil, I think the group is in an okay spot. Like we're scoring it. We're around 70 points per game. We're giving up around 64. I would like to have that a little bit lower. We're winning the rebounding margin, 14 assists per game. I think that's pretty good. We want to be around 15, but 14 right now, that's just one more shot going. Somebody passing and one more shot going in, and we're at 15 per game. But a group that's still growing, Phil. We're nowhere near a final product right now. We're still just getting cohesive on the floor. That's one of the things we talked about after that Wesleyan game is like that team has played a lot of minutes together, and so have we to a certain extent. but we're still trying to integrate some new pieces and figure some stuff out. And hopefully the team that you see right now is a totally different team when mid-January hits.
Outstanding. Appreciate that, overview there as far as where the team's at. Well, right back at it tomorrow, 6 p.m. in Greenville, South Carolina, a matchup at Bob Jones, non-conference play, of course, but, another big matchup, a bit of a local rivalry, a team not too far away from us here at Brevard College, and obviously an opportunity for the Tornadoes to keep this winning way going coming off the Salem victory.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime we take the field, I'm at the field, but take the court field, it's a chance for us to get better. Whether it be a shoot around, a practice, a game, but anytime we take the court together, it's an opportunity for us to improve. And tomorrow's no different. It's a Bob Jones team that got their first win over the weekend. They beat one of the teams that are in our conference. They beat Greensboro by 6 points. And I'm pretty sure they're going to want to get that first loss back. Like the first game of the year, we were able to knock them off here. And I'm pretty sure that doesn't sit well with them. So they're probably going to want to get that back tomorrow, and we got to be ready to go. We're going to go in here a little bit and talk about some scouting, some things we want to do versus them and what to expect. Watch our film. We'll prepare, and we'll be ready to head down tomorrow and get a win.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Coach. It's something we might not always think about, but, Bob Jones fell 80-60 to the Tornadoes in the season opener of the season, and they've been working just as hard as every other team in the country to try to improve. So there's no telling, the improvements they've made between that point and tomorrow. Meanwhile, back to USA South Conference play this weekend, another trip on the road, this time at William Peace in Raleigh, North Carolina, 2:00 start on Saturday. What do we know about William Peace this season, Coach?
It's a new team. I'm not sure how much everyone knows about last year with us in William Peace. We played them once here at our place, and the second time we were supposed to play them, it got canceled. They had to cancel their season. They didn't have enough players. They had some things going on and sickness and had a few players leave the team, so they didn't really get to finish their season. So it's a team that we don't know a ton about. They've kind of recruited better than what they had last year. They have a transfer kid that was in our conference, a guard that can give us problems if we're not careful. But I think they're going to play us in a lot of zone. I think they'll struggle to defend some of the stuff we do. And if we do a really good job on the guards, I like our chances. I don't think they're a very big team as far as interior size, but good guard play can get you wins, Phil. In basketball, if you have a guard that can dominate the ball and get a good shot every time down, it doesn't matter who you play. You have a chance. And I think this is no different. We'll study their film after tomorrow's game and give the girls a game plan and be ready to roll. It's a conference game on the road. That's the biggest thing. The opponent, it matters, but the biggest thing is taking care of business in a conference game on the road, doing what we do.
Makes a lot of sense, Coach. Yeah, appreciate that. And then following that game at William Peace on Saturday, December the 9th, there's 19, 20 days in between the next matchup at UNC Asheville. Before we touch on that a bit, because I do want to make sure local fans know about this opportunity on December the 29th as they work through all their holiday plans. Coach, can you tell us a little bit about the December calendar for the team and the student athletes with, finals following that William Peace game and then heading towards Christmas break as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is around the time where you've been together for so long. We've been at it, Phil, since middle of September, and the girls have been together even longer than that, lifting weights and playing pickup together. So you get around this time of the year and you kind of need a break. You kind of need a break and to go your separate ways a little bit and go see your family and kind of hit the reset button. And that's kind of where December lands us. But 2 more games before our break. We have tomorrow, and then we have William Peace on Saturday. And then that following week, our ladies get ready for their exams, which is a big deal. We want to make sure that they're ready to knock out the academic portion of being a student athlete as well. So as far as practice, it won't be as strenuous as it is now, but we'll have some individual workouts is what we'll do. We'll bring in groups of 6 to 7, and we'll just work on some skill development things. Since we don't have a game until after Christmas, we'll just work on some shooting, some ball handling, some finishing, some different things in that aspect to improve their skills. And then we'll all go home after exams. I'm going to go down to Augusta, spend some time with my family, and we'll be right back at it on December 27th with our practice. We'll practice twice, get ready for Asheville, and that game kind of ramps us up and gets us ready for that first conference game against, I believe it's Mary Baldwin
That's
next
right.
week. Mary Baldwin comes to our place, and like I said, it's conference. So you got to be ready. Conference games bring on a little bit more weight, and we'll be ready to roll.
Yep, Wednesday, January 3rd, that first conference matchup, as you mentioned, Coach, against Mary Baldwin. And do want to mention this UNC Asheville opportunity. Friday, December the 29th, 5 p.m., up in Asheville, North Carolina. I know a lot of fans, local would be able to make that trip up there. It'd be great to see some Tornado fans in the building there. And as the Tornadoes take on UNC Asheville, Coach, always a good opportunity for our student athletes when they get a chance to go to a NCAA Division I building, and in this case, just up the road at UNC Asheville.
Yeah, a local team that in the past we've played them more often than we have recently. Like when I was a student, when I was an assistant, this was a trip every year. The women's team would go play Asheville every year, and so with the men. It's such an easy trip. It's right down the road, and it's local. And one of the big things that's kind of really good for our team is sometimes it's televised. We don't get a lot of televised games playing here, but once we go to these Division I venues and get to play under the bright lights. And it's a game to me where you just want to make sure your team is executing the right stuff. When it comes down to size and strength and speed, those are three things that usually the opposing team has over us when we're playing at the Division I level, but we could always be in the right spot, Phil. That's the thing that you kind of want to gauge in those games. It's not so much the win and the loss, just execution things, making sure we're playing at a high level, executing our stuff, and you kind of live with the results in those games. But good opportunity for us. Honey Brown over there, I'm glad she extended the offer to us to come play, and we're looking forward to it.
Outstanding. Well, I hope some fans can make it out there. Also an opportunity tomorrow, not too far away in Greenville, South Carolina, when the Tornadoes travel to take on Bob Jones. Coach, can you stick with us just a moment or two longer? We've got a couple of your student athletes backstage ready to enter the conversation here.
Yes.
And we'll get them up here in just a moment as McKenna Parkins has joined us. Also, Melanie Hoyle. Great to see these two back on Tornado Talk. Coach, before we let you go, can you help introduce both Melanie and McKenna to Tornado Nation?
Absolutely. Two dual sport athletes that are coming off of a successful volleyball year. Melanie's kind of nursing an injury right now, waiting to get her back. Mac is starting to hit her stride, as far as putting the ball in the basket and playing at a high level for us. But these women are more than just basketball and volleyball players. They really, really embody what we want to represent in our program, and phenomenal women, phenomenal kids. And I'm really excited they made a decision to come here. Looking forward to watching their growth on and off the court.
Outstanding, Coach. Yeah, we enjoy these two as well, and are going to enjoy our conversation in just a matter of moments here. Thanks for joining us, Coach Donald Hudson, BC Women's Basketball.
All right. See y'all shortly, ladies.
All right. Coach Hudson. And now joined by Melanie Hoyle and McKenna Parkins from the BC Women's Basketball team. Melanie's in that lower location there. How are you, Melanie?
I'm good. How are you, Phil?
Doing great. And McKenna Parkins up in that upper right location. How are you, McKenna?
I'm good. How are you?
Outstanding. Yeah, looking forward to catching up with you all. We've been watching the Tornadoes so far. We talked a little bit about, thus far 5-2 overall records, 2-1 in the USA South Conference. Melanie, what's sort of your feeling as far as this year's team, what makes you all special, and how the season's going so far?
I think so far we already have a really good team chemistry, and I think that's going to continue to grow throughout the season. But I'm really proud of where we're at so far, and I know we're only going to continue to get better.
Yeah. McKenna, could you add to that, please?
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of returners this year, Phil. We only lost one last year and made some more additions with some transfer students. But I think where we're at right now is a really good spot. Like Coach had said, I think when we look up in early January or mid-January, we're going to look a whole lot different. But the chemistry and the bond will still be there.
That's great to hear, and that's what we're seeing on the court as well, including this past Saturday, a 66-46 win over Salem. Melanie, team felt good coming away with that win on the road. USA South Conference play, always big. I'm sure it felt good to take that bus trip home on Saturday after the win.
Yeah, it did. It's always a good feeling whenever you come home with a conference win, and, energy was good the whole time, and I think we played really well as a team.
What do you think the key was, McKenna, not only Saturday, but on the nights that you all are clicking and putting together these W's? What are the keys to a successful Tornadoes affair?
Yeah, I think it's when everyone gets in their groove. And a lot of us have played together for 3, 4 years now, so we know who's cutting where, who's going to be where, and we're looking to put our teammates in a good position. Coach AB said this weekend, we know where our teammates score well from, so we need to be looking to get them the ball when they're in those areas so that they are at the good position to score.
Coming up next for the Tornadoes, a trip to Bob Jones. That's tomorrow, Tuesday, 6 p.m. down in Greenville, South Carolina. Melanie, you guys just came off a road trip. You're going to have another one tomorrow. What's it like being on the road with the Brevard College women's basketball team? Can you tell us a little bit, just what that experience is like?
Yeah, it's pretty fun traveling with your teammates. Energy is always good on the vans, bus, whatever we take. A lot of the time we're like goofing off, just having fun with our teammates. We play crazy eights on iMessage games. It's a good time.
McKenna, what are some of your impressions? You're a veteran of this deal by this point, or maybe what are some of the tips you give freshmen or newcomers as far as how to travel effectively with the Tornadoes?
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say make sure you have your headphones. There's definitely going to be some away games where you've got some homework that you have to do. So when the back of the van is playing crazy eights and screaming from point A to point B, you got to have a way to lock in and get your homework done. But they're always a fun time. You usually have somebody in the front seat DJing and everyone in the back singing karaoke, and it's always a good time.
Yeah, that's a pro tip right there. The tool of the headphones when you're on the team bus or in the team vans. Melanie Hoyle, junior forward out of Sylva, North Carolina, not too far up the road from us here at Brevard College. Melanie, tell us a little bit about your background. As an athlete, you're a dual sport athlete here, both volleyball and basketball. But tell us a little bit about when you started to get serious and when you eventually ended up playing college sports.
Yeah, so I think my dream to be a dual sport athlete in college kind of started around middle school, if I'm being honest. I always had the love for the game for basketball, and I started a little late in volleyball, but it came as soon as I started playing. I immediately fell in love with the sport. And just going throughout high school, it was always one of those things where coaches always told me, you have to pick a sport if you want to play in college. Like, you just have to. And I never listened. And I started playing club volleyball with Anna Grant, who used to be the head coach here for Brevard Volleyball. And whenever it came down to like my recruiting process and everything, I mentioned like how I'm not used to having so much free time because I ended up quitting basketball my senior year. And so like whenever I started talking about how I played both sports in high school, she asked if that was something I was interested in. And so it kind of just went from there. I sent film to HUD and he welcomed me right in. So.
And how about the idea of, not being far away from Brevard College, home just around the corner at Sylva, North Carolina? Does that feel good to be, in the striking distance to back home?
It does. I mean, I love getting to go home on weekends whenever I can, and it makes going home for the holidays much easier, and my family gets to come to basically all the home games, so it's really good to see them too.
Awesome stuff. And McKenna Parkins, senior forward from not too far away either, Marion, North Carolina, over in McDowell County, just over that big mountain you got to, handle on I-40. But McKenna, tell us a little bit, just like Melanie did, your background and eventually how you wound up here at Brevard College.
Yeah, so my story's pretty similar to Melanie's, except for I was looking mostly at coming for basketball. And then talking to Coach HUD, he mentioned he got me connected with Anna and talked to her a little bit, and then eventually decided to play both. And it's been history ever since.
Yeah, Melanie Hoyle, McKenna Parkins, you all are both, and you both, touched on it there, dual sport student athletes. So like to investigate this a little further with each of you. Melanie, tell us a little bit about how you manage it all, the two sports, the academics, and especially that time when the two sports overlap.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I definitely struggled with it my freshman year coming in. And as I've said before, McKenna was a great role model whenever it came to that, and she gave me so much guidance on how to manage it all. But I mean, honestly, obviously, school comes first. You got to get your homework done, and that's whenever those headphones come in handy, getting it done on the van rides and stuff. But I mean, even whenever it does overlap, volleyball does kind of come first for us, but we go to as much basketball practices and workouts and stuff that we can. But all of our teammates are so supportive and they understand that we can't be at everything. And I think that that plays a pretty big role in that too, is just the understanding from our teammates.
Anything to add to that, McKenna, as far as that dual sport student athlete experience and how you manage it all?
No, I think Melanie touched on pretty much everything. I will say the professors are also really great about understanding, we missed for a whole volleyball season and we're going to miss for half of a basketball season too. So they're really good about helping us with our work.
Very good. Joined by Melanie Hoyle and McKenna Parkins. Well, perfect segue, McKenna. Let's take it to the classroom. Melanie, what are you working on academically? What's your major?
So I'm a business major and a coaching minor.
Very good. Have you thought further ahead, once you do graduate, what you might want to use those degrees for?
I'm not too sure what I want to use my business degree for yet. I would like to own my own business, maybe open a gym, but I definitely know that I do want to coach at some point.
Very good. And McKenna Parkins with us as well. McKenna, senior year, here we are. Tell our audience a little bit about what you've been working on academically and what the degree is going to be in, and what are your future plans, if you've got any of those in place yet?
Yeah, so I'm an exercise science and a health science major with a coaching minor. Plan on going to grad school after Brevard. Haven't quite decided if I'll be coming back next year or not for a fifth year. Still up in the air a little bit, but yeah.
Very good. Well, we'll continue to monitor that story, McKenna. That's what they call in the business a teaser, where you sort of allude, hey, there's a possibility, kind of thing. So we'll continue to keep an ear on that. Well, it's been great to catch up with each of you. Just love watching the Tornadoes women's basketball team in action, and you two a big part of that. Before we let you go, and you two are veterans of this Tornado Talk deal, so you know the drill. But shout outs or thank yous, we'll get started with Melanie Hoyle.
Want to give a shout out to my family for allowing me to come to school and get my degree and play two sports, and just having their support throughout that, and my friends as well whenever it comes to that. And shout out to God for letting me have this opportunity, and I know He's watching over me as I recover from my injury, and if it's His plan, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to get through it with Him. But
very good. McKenna, shout outs?
Yeah, I just want to thank the Lord for giving me the ability to play two sports and to be at the college that I love being at. And thank you for my family that has got me here, and my friends and coaches along the way.
Very good. Well done on this edition of Tornado Talk. Two outstanding student athletes here at Brevard College, not only women's basketball, but also on the volleyball court also. Melanie Hoyle, McKenna Parkins, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having us.
Bill.
All right. So there they go, as we will shift gears here, and we're going to bring on Director of Athletics Miranda Nash. It's been a few months perhaps since we've caught up with Miranda. Looking forward to this conversation. And one of the reasons we wanted to have Miranda on the show is this is actually our last edition of Tornado Talk before the holidays. Next week, our finals here at Brevard College. And then, the holiday break begins, and, always a good time to catch up with Miranda as we're kind of nearing these milestones or the end of the semester or that sort of thing. And great to have you on the show once again, Miranda.
Thanks for having me, Phil. I've got my holiday sweater on for tonight, so ready to go.
Very good. Yeah, just a little behind the curtain, a staff holiday party for the Department of Athletics. Can you share about that a little more, Miranda?
Yeah, when I came back 6 years ago, I decided to kind of be a consistent holiday party. So we went bowling. We have a pretty highly competitive group of colleagues that we work with, and so there's a bowling alley in Brevard. Loved going there, having some dinner and bowling, and they closed. And so this year I was kind of like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? So I found a bowling alley in Asheville, and I think it's probably I hope it's going to be a great time, but we'll see.
Outstanding. Love seeing those traditions carry on. And I can attest, because I've been in the bowling alley during these competitions, it can get pretty competitive. Just imagine a bunch of coaches matched up in different combinations going at it at the bowling.
Oh yeah.
Lanes.
Yeah, they've been talking all week. So we had a head coaches meeting earlier today, and they were trash talking each other there. So it's a lot of fun.
Very good. Well, Miranda, do want to kind of catch up and review a little bit, the successful fall that we've had in so many ways, and don't want to go through all the minutia or the details, but why don't we start with homecoming, which was just another outstanding event here at Brevard College. It was capped off by a big football win as the Tornadoes defeated Maryville 37-35. The day started that Saturday actually with a women's soccer game as well, also a win for the Tornadoes, and just another successful homecoming, and nothing better that when you get a couple wins as well on the field, just to add to the atmosphere. What are your sort of, remembrances and also takeaways from this year's homecoming?
Yeah, I don't think you can ask for a better football game, triple overtime win. I don't remember too much, in terms of like very specific details on homecoming. It's quite a big weekend. We work with our alumni affairs staff. They do a fantastic job, and we try and partner and make it better every single year. And we try and have an alum come and perform for the tailgate before the game. That's the second year of doing that. It's always a lot of fun, and just to see all of our alum come back and when they find out the new things on campus, it's always great to talk to them about, oh my gosh, that's new. I wish that was here when I was here, So it's great to catch up with them, and then to see, like the alum games that are happening, and how supported those are. So it's just a really fun weekend, that we get to enjoy those who were here before.
Yeah, and Miranda, a big part of that weekend was the Hall of Fame inductions, Brevard College Tornado Athletics Hall of Fame. An outstanding class this year. Scott Dvorak from cross country and track and field, class of 1989. Ray Gill, who a lot of folks know his voice, but he also was an incredible baseball student athlete back in the day, 2005 here at Brevard College. Ray was inducted. And then also Joe Tuttle Tyson, who was the first female individual national champion in the sport of cycling here at Brevard College, the first of what's become a long lineage. But an outstanding class, Miranda, and we were blessed to be able to be in that room and hear all those induction speeches.
Yeah, and for me, I love to hear the conversations that they have at the table before. There's always a really robust group of friends that come back and support them, and then just to see who presents them and the relationships that they have, and that's what makes Brevard special, is the relationships. And so having that a part of the weekend is just great, and then it's also paired with distinguished alumni, and so it's just a great event that every year I just feel so thankful that we can have.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, the fall sports seasons have concluded. We're on to the basketball season, but do want to touch on a few things. We talked about that exciting football win. The Tornadoes ended up 5-2 in the USA South Conference, another solid season. They went had a 5-game winning streak at one point, and also just a huge roster, able to provide opportunities for all sorts of student athletes, including the JV football program, which continues to ramp up. Love for your thoughts as far as this football season, how Coach Kyatt and under his leadership and the entire football coaching staff continues to build this program, but also the opportunities that are being provided to all these student athletes.
Yeah, I continue to be so impressed with the quality of student athletes that all of our programs bring in. But I've with a pretty large roster of football players, I think that our students are just top notch. And being able to rely on them in ways off the field, but then they get it done on the field. And as an administrator, that's the best you can ask for. And so it's been really great to see their success play out on the field, and then to hear the stories about who they are as a person and what they aspire to do. And a lot of them have some really interesting aspirations, while they're here at Brevard. And so that's great.
Can't talk about fall sports without reviewing these soccer seasons from this past year. Just absolutely wild what the Tornadoes were able to accomplish. And I want to reflect back to Halloween night. People might be wondering why you want to talk about Halloween. It's Christmas time. But here we go. On Halloween night, there was a doubleheader, USA South Conference first round action, a women's soccer game and a men's soccer game. Both games go through the overtime periods. go all the way to penalty kicks, and the Tornadoes win both penalty kick shootouts to continue on and march further on in the USA South Conference tournament. What a night that was, Miranda. I'm sure that one's etched in your memory.
You know, I don't get too nervous watching sporting events. Basketball probably makes me the most nervous just because it's the sport that I grew up playing. But let me tell you something, penalty kicks will always make me nervous. It doesn't
Right.
matter. It doesn't matter what's going on. It's not, it couldn't even be our team, and I'm nervous watching them. And so Halloween was memorable because we had a lot of soccer. I think it was about 6 hours worth of soccer that night. And it was so great for both of our teams to be at home and supporting one another, and all of our students coming out and supporting. And so it was just a really nice night of celebrations. It could have been awful with penalty kicks going the wrong way, but you know, I trust our teams pretty well when it comes to penalty kicks on both sides.
Yeah, and they certainly got it done. The women's soccer team kept on marching forward, went all the way to the USA South Conference title game, ends up as runners-up in the USA South Conference, a 13-5-3 overall record, an incredible undefeated season on the home turf at Isla Family Field. What a year for women's soccer, Miranda.
Yeah, I mean, and they're such a fun group. You know, they're just so humble and they care so much about one another. And so I was able to travel with them to the championship game. And again, like I don't get too emotional when I'm around teams, but that was a pretty hard loss, the championship round, because they had just fought so hard. So it was really great to see them go so far.
Then the men's team ends up having to go to another penalty kick shootout in the USA South Conference championship game. They win that one as well. Back-to-back USA South Conference champions under the guidance of Coach L. Dana. And then off to the NCAA Division III tournament at Emory, second straight season going to the national tournament. Just outstanding what the men's soccer team did again this year.
Yeah, they're such a fun group to watch. I mean, it's hard to not watch our team, and the pace of it is just it's incredible. And North Carolina Wesleyan plays very similarly in that way, and so you know, that was an incredible matchup. And man, we really represented ourselves well at Emory, and just really proud of that group and what they continue to put on the field.
Volleyball worth mentioning as well, no doubt about that, as the Tornadoes return to the USA South Conference tournament this season. A great year there, had 7 wins, and you know, Abby Pardee, a first-time head coach, continues to elevate this program.
Yeah, you know, I'm really excited to see the evolution of that program in the next few years, and they're so committed to one another in terms of they've got some really great goals for their team, and um, volleyball in the USA South is great, and so you know, um, seeing what they were able to do. I mean, especially that win over Greensboro was just massive. And so I'm really proud of what they've accomplished, and look forward to where they're going in the future as well.
Also, do want to mention track and field and cross country. Cross country finishes 3rd in the men's side, 4th in the women's side. And new director of track and field, Josh Hall, is working on quite a few things to elevate that program. We haven't had the chance to have him on Tornado Talk yet, Miranda. We're going to do that at the very start of the new year, but really exciting, you know, the things that are in store for that program as well.
Yeah, and the conference has also just sponsored indoor track and field, and so we're hoping next year will be the first year that we also sponsor indoor track and field. And so for some of those athletes, they'll be competing year round, and that's quite a lot. But they seem to love that type of thing, and so excited for the future of the conference in terms of, especially for the distance side, you know, their opportunity to compete year round. I think will be pretty incredible.
One last fall sports we would be completely remiss without mentioning, which is the Brevard College cycling program. The mountain bike team goes to the national championships once again. This time finishes 2nd in the country. 5 individual national titles for the Tornadoes, more than any other school. And it happened right in our backyard at Ride Rock Creek. just up the road, about 45 minutes or so from campus. And Miranda, just a sensational weekend again for these outstanding student athletes on the cycling program.
Yeah, no doubt, and I'm thankful that they'll be coming back next year too. And so it was an incredible weekend. I just kept the good news just kept coming in from Brad, and so really, really an incredible event to be able to go to and witness. And so, if anyone missed it this year, I would say go ahead and mark it on your calendars for next year because it was pretty incredible to witness.
That's right. The USA Cycling National Championships for the mountain bikes going back to Zirconia, North Carolina next fall. Ride Rock Creek, and another great opportunity for the local community and the campus community to get to see that sport in action. And best of luck to the Tornadoes this week, heading to the Cyclocross National Championships in Louisville, Kentucky, under the leadership of head coach Brad Purley. Well, that brings us to the winter sports, which are currently underway, and both teams off to a couple of hot starts. Women's basketball got another game tomorrow at Bob Jones. They've already got 5 wins under their belt, and the Tornadoes men's team on a 5-game win streak. And they're doing it all, Miranda, if folks haven't seen it yet, on a brand new court at the Boshemer Gymnasium. A whole new look, a whole new feel, and all sorts of bells and whistles. Can you fill us in a little further on that project? Then also, how special it is to be playing basketball, with the Tornadoes on that court and at that facility now.
Yeah, it's a resurfaced court. We still probably need a brand new court in the next coming decade or so, but we have we were able to resurface it, take it down to just, I wasn't really sure how white the court was going to be because it had a couple years of oil-based paintings, coatings on top of it. And so, there's been so many changes in basketball in the last decade with three-point line changes in the restricted area. And so it's so nice to have one three-point line and one restricted area on the court. But we kind of all got together and talked about what we would want in a court, what we would like this to look like. And so the product that you see is a lot of opinions, coming together at the table, and it's something that we can be proud of. And I can't say this without thanking Pepsi and their partnership that we've had with them, longstanding partnership. They donated money for our scoreboards, and that was also huge to be able to install. And then BSN, with the help of BSN, we're able to get new baseline padding in that gym as well. And so it was a labor of love and a lot of delays, but it got done, and we're really proud of it.
Outstanding. Well, appreciate all you did to make that a reality, Miranda. Well, we're heading towards the holidays into the spring. Would love for you to sort of, I gave Coach Hudson an opportunity for this after 7 women's basketball games, but I'd love to give you the opportunity after, fall semester's almost to the close and what we're looking ahead to in the spring, as far as sort of a state of the union, where we're at, what's the vibe in the athletic department, and what Tornado fans can look forward to.
Yeah, I think we have so much to be proud of. There's a USA South President's Cup, and we're leading on the men's side of the President's Cup, and that's a lot of hard work put in from a lot of student athletes. I believe we're second overall, and that is significant. We've never been that high in terms of the rankings midway through, and have full confidence in our men's and women's basketball programs to continue getting the points there for us, and then going into the spring. So really, I think the vibe, if I had to put it into one word, is hopeful. All of our sports who are coming up are hopeful that they can have the success that they've seen. When one sport wins a conference championship, it's kind of electric, and it gives motivation for other student athletes to be like, wow, it's attainable and it's here, and we just got to work for it. And so I would love to have the problem of trying to figure out how we're going to get more rings, because it's an exciting problem to have.
No doubt. last one, Miranda, to complete this conversation, kind of take it full circle. It's the, holidays, we're looking forward to celebrating that. And it's also time to, just be grateful and so forth. Would love for just to give you the floor as far as all the people, that it takes to put on a Brevard College Tornado athletic experience.
This is dangerous. I'm sure I'm going to forget some people. We'll just have to catch them in May, right? I think that for us, where we get most of our funding is through the Tornado Club. And largely that comes from Tornado Club memberships and our golf tournament. And so, like, the court couldn't happen without Tornado Club. And we have some incredibly supportive parents, specifically on the football side of things, who buy memberships so they can tailgate at games. And none of that happens without Kristen Rosado, who is our assistant AD in SWA. And so that whole operation, our golf tournament is in its, I think it was 15th year this last October. And so for us to have this long-standing golf tournament that usually brings in around $25,000 for us is hugely important for us to hit those numbers. And so, on top of that, we have board of trustee members who are so supportive of athletics. They come to our games, they support us financially, and having them understand the importance of athletics is very important in my world, and they do. And it's been great for them to be able to reach out to coaches personally as well, because they have those relationships. And I think that's what's special about Brevard. Another group is Alumni Affairs. We've really worked well with them this year. And every program is going to start a Give Campus campaign prior to their seasons or after their seasons. And I think fundraising at the program level is important, especially in this economy. Things are always going to be more expensive than we planned and budgeted for. And so having safety nets in every sport for fundraising is really important. And we can do that with the help of those folks. And so Pat and his staff are just so supportive. They come to all the games as well. I would say that all of our coaching staff, right, head coaches, assistant coaches, are phenomenal. And I genuinely like coming to work and working with every single one of our programs. It's a joy for me to be able to talk about exciting things that all of our teams are doing. I think that we have the best admin team in the conference and probably the region. Phil, you and Joseph and Mitch, the coverage that you provide for our student athletes is unmatched. I think that for our students to be able to see themselves after their games and then talk about it in an avenue like this is incredible. And then have their games broadcasted where their families can see them and be represented in a way that maybe they didn't think that they were going to get by coming here. I think that's so valuable from a recruiting standpoint. And so that's wonderful. Our whole admin team, and if you look at our athletic trainers, that profession is in a crisis right now, and we've been operating too short for 2 years. And so Andrew, Nicole, and our head athletic trainer Noah, they give our student athletes every single part of themselves to operate day in and day out. And so having them and the willingness that they are to live a lifestyle and not just a job, I think is really, really important. And we're successful because of that. If our student athletes couldn't get back on the field or the court, we wouldn't have any success. So that's where I'm thinking right now. Obviously, I am incredibly thankful for my boss, Juan Mascaro, and President Andrews. They are just staunch supporters of athletics. They understand some of the issues that we run into. And, I think, like, without their support, none of this would ever happen. And so having them kind of in our corner when we're talking about things and they actually genuinely understand and care is really, really important. So I'm sure I left someone out. I think
you did pretty good, Miranda.
The last bit, and I can't leave these people out, would be all the parents and the families of our student athletes, right? I mean, we're here because our student athletes have chosen to come to Brevard to compete and get their degrees. And without their families and friends, they, they wouldn't have the same support system. And so I think, families and friends of our student athletes, and then, our student athletes themselves, who I just, that's why we come to work every single day. So it's been a very grateful season for us. And I feel really, really fortunate for us to work and live in a place that for me personally fits so many things that I want to live in daily living, in terms of the people that we work with and the place. So it's special.
Great stuff. Thank you for that, Miranda. And, do want to mention the Tornadoes and, the student athletes, the coaching staffs, really Brevard College as a whole gives back in so many ways as well. And Miranda, stick with us just a minute or two longer, because we're going to share with our audience a little bit one of these programs that's currently underway. And we're going to segue also to head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess in the process. Day ceremony for Team Impact and the Brevard College. And from Team Impact, Javon Clark, 17-year-old Javon from Hendersonville, North Carolina.
All right, Brevard College would like to welcome Javon Clark to the Tornado family. By signing this letter of intent, you are deemed a member of Brevard College men's basketball team. This title requires you to carry yourself with pride, honor, respect, sportsmanship, and integrity that are expected when wearing royal blue and white.
Throughout this journey, there's moments where you can feel like your family's over here in this corner, just kind of moving through the motions of life while the rest of the world swirls around you. So for Javon to have this opportunity to be a part of something, to have that camaraderie, that sportsmanship, that extended now family that becomes a part of him, and they can game with him and can interact and just be a teenage boy.
All right, that was Team Impact. We had a press conference and a signing day ceremony just a few days ago, also joined now by head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess. Javon Clark, the newest member of the Tornadoes after that signing day ceremony. Miranda, before we let you go, I know you were in attendance on that afternoon as well. Just an outstanding program as we get underway with this partnership with Team Impact yet again.
Yeah, I think we were on the list for about 2 or 3 years with Team Impact before we ever found a match. And that first match was Russell, and Russell was a wonderful member of our men's basketball team as well. And so there must just be something in the water with basketball around this area. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited for Lee and our team. Lee had talked about in the press conference that he really thinks that it might have more of an impact on our students, and I completely agree. So excited for them to experience that partnership, and they're so close. They're in Hendersonville, and so I think they'll be able to be really engaged with the team and form a really special bond. So I'm excited for them.
Coach Lee Burgess, before we let Miranda go, additional thoughts as far as this partnership with Team Impact and the idea that Javon Clark is now a member of the Tornadoes?
Yeah, nothing really additional. I mean, Jessica, Javon's mom, was talking to me afterwards. Just hey, I think the next area that we can grow is, Javon's a big gamer. I don't know if you've got any gamers on your team. Like, yeah, we've got probably more than I want to admit in terms of gamers. So yeah, there's going to be a couple different areas that Javon can connect with our program, just at practice, at games, and then certainly electronically through the gaming systems that they have will be great.
Very good. Well, Director of Athletics, Miranda Nash, thanks for joining the program. Really appreciate you taking some time out for Tornado Talk, and look forward to that spring season as you were talking about as well.
Yep. Thanks for having me, Phil.
All right, there she goes, Miranda Nash, and joined now by head men's basketball coach Lee Burgess. A great moment there with Javon Clark. A stat I'm keeping track of, Coach, is Javon Clark's 2-0 as a official member of the Tornado. So we'll look to see if we can
Yeah.
keep that going. And, that winning streak that the Tornadoes are currently on, 5 games, and to catch up our audience since we saw you last week, about 6 days ago, the Tornadoes traveled to Atlanta, Georgia, for their 3rd straight win, a 71-68 win over Oglethorpe. Before we get into more recent happenings, Coach, can you recap that Oglethorpe win for us briefly?
We shot it really well. Made 14 threes in that game. Oglethorpe switched back and forth between man-to-man defense and zone defense, and we were able to operate very efficiently against both. Shot it really well. They've got a very good post player, Perry Robinson, who is very difficult to guard. We guarded him fairly well, but he certainly, we didn't contain him fully. But we're able to get enough stops down the stretch to get that win. It was a big one. Oglethorpe has now come out and a couple days ago beat Berry in overtime. Berry's a solid program, and Oglethorpe is playing pretty well. So a win by us on their home floor was a big one. Our guys were definitely excited.
And a few days later, right back at it, this time with Javon Clark, alongside officially a member of the Tornadoes. And the Tornadoes, this one was a thriller. Comes down to the final seconds, a 74-72 win over Bob Jones.
Yeah, close throughout the first half, close at halftime. We did not have a great start to the second half. Got ourselves down, and I think we trailed by as many as 14, I believe, in the second half was our largest deficit, and knocked the lid off the basket from 3 and started making a bunch of threes in the second half, which was great. I think we made 13 for the game. But then, down the stretch, I know Bob Jones didn't score the last 2 minutes and 15 seconds of the game. And they had 4 possessions in that stretch where they could have tied or taken the lead, and we got stops on all 4 of those possessions. So definitely stood up defensively at the end to get a big win. Jeremy Posner stepped up and made some big threes. Charlie Hester stepped up and made some big threes, and we needed them. We needed every single one of them. So we got some good mojo working from the arc in the second half, and just kind of kept it rolling.
And then less than 48 hours after that, a trip back to the state of Georgia to take on a old USA South Conference rival, Piedmont, a team that, the Tornadoes have a bunch of experience with, no doubt. And the Tornadoes get the 86-83 win on Sunday afternoon. Coach, what was the key to that victory?
Massive win for our program. Offensively, we played very, very well. Again, shot it well. It's 3 games in a row now. We've shot it really well. So made 14, I believe. 14 threes in the game as well. So, these last 3 games made 14 threes, 13 threes, 14 threes. So we've shot it well. Piedmont is a very talented offensive team. A lot of very good players. And, I thought our defensive energy on them was really, really good. They had rebounds in the game. Piedmont did. So when you look at the stat sheets, they had 25 offensive rebounds. I'm looking at the stat sheet now. They shoot 27 free throws. Piedmont does, and we win the game. So that's really amazing to me. Again, I thought our first shot defense on them was really, really good. Wish we could have battled a little harder on the glass, and think that we could have spread that margin out a little bit out of our guys. Just to kind of talk a little bit longer, Phil, if you'll indulge me for a minute, we've been really shorthanded this last week. We've got guys that are hurt. We've got guys that are sick. We've got coaches that are sick. It's really been circle the wagons, next man up, and let's go get this thing done. And we look up going into the Piedmont game, and we've got Jeremy Posner out. We've got LB Boyette out. We've got KK Horton out. We've got Coach Miles Leathers out. And so to go on the road and get a win against the Piedmont team that was 6-1 heading into the game. Piedmont had beaten an Elite 8 team on the road from last year. This year, a very solid program. And really, we had some guys step up that had to log a lot of minutes that they weren't used to. And some guys got to play that hadn't even really touched the floor this year and contributed in a meaningful way. And so very proud of the guys for again, circling the wagons and finding a way to get that done.
Huge win indeed, Coach, and appreciate that context, making it all the more impressive. 86-83 over Piedmont on the road to keep a 5-game win streak going. Longest win streak since 2009 for the Tornadoes, and looking to keep it going this week. And it begins with a trip to Warren Wilson on Wednesday, 7 p.m. in Swannanoa, North Carolina. Coach, got to see Warren Wilson already this season, a rematch up at their place.
Yeah, we were off today from practice, so we'll have one day of prep for them tomorrow. A game that we didn't shoot it particularly well when we played them here at our place. I thought we defended them pretty well. They've got some talented offensive players that are really they're gonna try to seek out a good matchup for them one-on-one with the ball and really try to take advantage of that matchup. And so we need to have no weak links out there defensively. They'll find that weak link and try to expose it. And then offensively, we've done a really good job here over this last week now, really sharing the ball, running good offense, being okay, turning down an okay shot early in the clock to get a potentially better shot later in the action, or if a teammate is more open. I mean, you look at Piedmont, we had 19 assists on 33 made shots in the Piedmont game. And so our guys have really started buying into that. We're a talented team. We're a deep team. But we've, I think, taken a big step toward, if I'm thinking, me as a player, I know I'm a talented guy, but that guy to my left and that guy to my right is also a talented player as well. And if they've got a better look than I do, I'm definitely willing and trusting to give that ball up. And I think we've embraced that in a really positive way. And that'll be important to continue on Wednesday. So
opportunity for fans not too far away, Swannanoa, if you want to check out the Tornadoes on Wednesday. And then back at the Bosch on Friday, a special 5:30 p.m. start time, home versus JWU Charlotte. Last opportunity to see the Tornadoes at home until the new year, either men's or women's side of things. Coach, can you preview ahead to that one a little bit, and just the idea of getting to go back to the home court? I know it's one game at a time.
No, I cannot preview that game at all, Phil. No, in all honesty, I can't. We've got Warren Wilson on the brain. So Johnson and Wales Friday. What I can tell you is they beat us by 1 point at their place last year. It was a highly competitive game. Just looking at Johnson and Wales scores, just looking at comparative scores, it's going to be another competitive game. It's a solid program. It's a first-year head coach. So we'll have to, they're not going to play exactly the same as they did last year. We'll have to certainly get into the scout and get our guys prepared. But no, I can give you zero scouting report or preview of the game. We are going to get ourselves ready for Warren Wilson, and then I will recap the game next time we're on Tornado Talk.
Very good. Well, you and I individually we'll preview that one on Friday afternoon. Get closer to game time. Well, Coach, great to have you with us. Just congrats on, like you said, these last couple games, especially shorthanded, and to keep this win streak going, 5 games at the moment, and looking to add to that this week. Coach, can you stick with us just a couple moments longer? We're going to bring in a couple of your student athletes into the program.
Yep.
As Sly White has joined us here on Tornado Talk, and also with us, Charles Reed. Coach, before we let you go, tell NATO Nation even more about these two. We've had them both on the show before.
Yeah,
I'd love to hear your perspective.
Sure. I mean, you guys know these guys well. They are both in their 4th years in the program, so have been through the ringer. Charles Reed from Concord and Sly White from Raleigh. Again, 4th-year seniors, and really the backbone of our team. Both these guys have really stepped forward this year with their leadership, vocally especially. I think Sly and Charles last year were leading by examples in great ways, but both of these guys, I've heard their voice so much this year, and it's been needed. It's been welcomed. The guys on the team respect both of these guys so much that their voice carries a lot of weight. And so Sly is somebody that for his first couple years here, did not get a ton of minutes, especially the minutes that he would have wanted. But he's worked his tail off and has gotten himself in a position to play, meaningful role on the court. And then Charles has had more experience, but has continued to elevate his game, where he's knocking down shots from the perimeter, and he's taking care of the ball, bringing it up the floor, and has always been a really, really good on-ball defender. So these guys really embody what our program growth has looked like over the last few years. These guys have grown individually as players. They've grown individually in their leadership, and our program has grown as a result as well.
Outstanding. Well said, Coach Burgess. Really appreciate you joining us. Congrats again on the recent success. Look forward to keeping that going. And best of luck at Warren Wilson. We'll see you Friday at the Bosch.
Sounds good. Thanks, Phil.
All right, there he goes, Coach Lee Burgess. And Coach Burgess helped introduce these two, who don't require too much of an introduction, because most fans of Tornado men's basketball certainly know these two. Down in that lower location is Charles Reed. Charles, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. And Sly White joining us once again as well in that upper right location. How you doing, Sly?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing great. Well, let's recap a little bit, just like we did with Coach, these last couple games in particular. And let's start with that trip to Atlanta, Oglethorpe. This is a tough Oglethorpe team that, the Tornadoes had to contend with and end up getting that 71-68 victory. Charles, what do you recall from that game and what the key that was that night?
Hitting shots is big. And we did that, and we knew coming into the game we had to contain one of the best players, Robinson, and I think we did a good job of that down the stretch, and that's what led to the big win.
Yeah, so Charles handled the Oglethorpe win. We'll let Sly handle this thriller that went down in the Bosch back on Friday night, 74-72. I feel like I'm still recovering from this one. I was calling that game, Sly, and the twists and turns, and then ultimately the Tornadoes getting the win on a big block shot at the ends to seal the deal. But Sly, tell us from your perspective, what that night was like.
That night was crazy. In the second half, we got down 14. I think that was the biggest thing. We didn't fold as a team. We stayed together and we pushed through that little stretch where they went on the run, and we went back on the run of our own. And then the last 2 minutes, they didn't score. So it was a team win. That was really, everybody contributed properly, and we got the win.
Yeah, just a sensational night altogether. And both of you big contributors in this one. Charles, 6 assists, 4 steals, a big three-pointer late in that one, in that win over Bob Jones. Pretty special night altogether for you guys. Charles, what are your recollections? I know it was just a couple days ago, but,
yeah.
I'm sure you're still enjoying some of those memories.
Yeah, I am. That's one game that we had circled as a team. The first time we played them, we didn't play well at all. So that's one game that we wanted to get a get-back game. So we all bought into what we had to do, film, all that. So that's what led to that big win, comeback.
Yeah, and you did exactly that. And, Sly White, a big part of that victory as well. Also draining a 3, 9.6 rebounds, getting it done down low. And just an outstanding win. Congrats on that, fellas. That brings us to yesterday, Sunday, and the Tornadoes able to go on the road, win their 5th in a row, an 86-83 win over Piedmont. Charles, we'll let you get started on this one. This Piedmont win on the road, this was big. What was the key to the victory?
Yeah, we was excited coming to this game. We knew they was a good team, but we were a good team as well. So we knew we was down a couple players. So like Coach said, next man mentality. We had a couple players step in big, contribute. RJ Johnson stepped in big. Drew hit a big shot, and then that's how we got the win. Everybody contributed in different ways.
Yeah, and Sly, the Tornadoes did it, as Coach mentioned, shorthanded in a lot of ways. Didn't even have the full coaching staff there, but you're able to get the win. Sly, had to feel great to come away with that road victory.
It definitely did. We brought our own energy on the bench, and like Charles said, it was next man up, but we make sure we encourage each other through it all. Carson, he started the game really strong for us, and that was how we got in a low rhythm. and we were just tearing our really defense apart as a team. We were unselfish, moving the ball, and that was really helpful for us, getting easy looks the whole game.
Carson Evans, as you mentioned, 18 points. Quincy Carter had 19. And Charles mentioned the contribution of Drew Smith draining that 3 as well. 86-83 victory over Piedmont. That brings us to this week, back to business, a trip to Warren Wilson on Wednesday. You guys playing great basketball. I know you're feeling it in so many ways. Charles, what's going to be the key to keeping this momentum going?
We just got to stay together. We got to keep doing what we're doing, sharing the ball, playing together, playing good defense, good team defense. And I think with this streak, we'll keep this streak alive if we do those things.
Sly?
The same thing, but don't underestimate our opponents. I feel like we already played this team before. We beat them before, and we have a lot to growing to do. So if we do those things, we will be very successful.
Very good. Do want to mention, too, and give you each the opportunity from a player's perspective. There was one other big piece of news last week when Javon Clark was signed officially as a member of the Brevard College Tornadoes. He's from Team Impact, and he's going to be part of the team all season long and even beyond. Looking forward to next year as well. But, I'm keeping track of this, fellas. Javon's 2-0 as a member of the Tornadoes officially after that signing day. Pretty cool stuff. Love to hear from each of you. We'll start with Charles. How special it is to have Javon part of the program.
It's very special. I had something similar like this in high school. So getting to know somebody and bring them to our team, this bond that we have, and make them our own, that's big. It's very special. I'm glad that he's part of our team now.
And Sly, some early impressions from you now that Javon's officially part of the team. I saw you were attending along with all your teammates at the press conference as well.
Yeah, it's a blessing to have him on the team. We just try to embrace everybody, and he's one person that we can embrace and add to our family. And he's part of the brotherhood now, so I'm glad to have him.
Awesome stuff. Javon Clark of Team Impact, joined by Charles Reed and Sly White, 2 seniors on the Brevard College men's basketball team. Charles, tell our audience a little bit about your journey, Concord, North Carolina, and eventually here to Brevard College. Tell us a little bit about your basketball journey and ultimately ending up here at Brevard.
Yes, sir. I started playing basketball around the age of 5. That was the only sport I really played growing up. So I was always in the gym, working hard. And Brevard, I didn't have that many offers coming out of high school during COVID. And so I was just texting coaches here left and right. And I came in contact with Coach Miles. And he showed me how the program. I came for a visit, and I loved it. And then I committed that same day, really, because I wanted to play ball. And that's like one of the best decisions I made.
Great stuff. And Charles, one follow-up for that for you, senior year, I know you got a long way to go. We're just getting started with this basketball season. But when you think back as far as like this entire decision to come to Brevard and also your experience here at Brevard College, what comes to mind?
I'm sorry, you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Brevard College, your senior year, here it is.
Yes, sir.
What have these 4 years meant to you?
It's big. Seeing everyone that's grown individually is big. Everybody's gotten better in so many ways, and I'm glad to be a part of this team. And I have an extra year, so I'm thinking about returning with the guys. I love them so much. I love being around them. So I'm thinking about returning for an extra year.
All right, you're giving me one more story to keep an eye on there, Charles. Appreciate that. Also joined by Sly White. By the way, Charles Reed, a defensive stopper. If we had more time, Charles, we could get into the art of defense and how you get that done, leading the team in steals. But also joined by Sly White, senior forward from Raleigh, North Carolina. Sly, same opportunity for you. Let our audience know your journey.
So growing up, I played a lot of different sports, but my main sport was basketball. Started playing it around 5 years old. I did have a lot of offers coming out of high school, and then really COVID hit. Coach Miles reached out to me right before COVID hit, so it was hard to get a visit. So I actually committed without taking a visit. So then, I think a month before school started, I was able to come up and take a visit, and I loved it. And I knew it was the right decision. So I'm glad these 4 years meant a lot to me.
Awesome stuff, Sly. Appreciate that. And Sly, senior year, let us know what you're doing academically. What's the major and the degree going to be in?
My major is exercise science, so I'll get a degree in the bachelor's of science in exercise science.
And have you thought beyond that, what you might want to do with the degree?
Possibly pursue physical therapy. I'm doing a senior internship at Elevate Physical Therapy right next to the Food Matters Market. So that's the opportunity for me to look into that profession.
Very good. Certainly an outstanding program here at Brevard College. Charles, let us know what you're up to academically.
I have a major in business and organizational leadership with a minor in coaching.
Very good. And same opportunity. I know you hinted towards maybe coming back for another year and that kind of thing, but have you thought, career-wise, what you might want to do with that degree ultimately?
Yeah, the minor in coaching, I want to get into coaching in the future. So that's what I'm looking forward to when I graduate.
Very good. Charles Reed and Sly White, two members of the men's basketball team with us. Well, I know you all are preparing for, finals, which are coming next week, but also, a couple more games this week. But do want to give you each the opportunity, keep you a couple minutes longer here and give you as much time as you need, really, during this holiday season to give any shout outs, thank yous, just something you might be grateful for. We'll start with Charles. Shout outs or thank yous.
Yeah, I just want to shout out my family. My dad is his birthday today, so I just want to say happy birthday, Dad. I love you, man. And then my mom, sister, brother, I love y'all. Thank you for everything y'all do. Y'all push me to the man I become today. And then my team, my teammates, my coaches, everything. I'm thankful for y'all boys. I love y'all.
What's your dad's name, Charles, so we can wish him a happy birthday properly here on Tornado Talk?
Oh, his dad is Charles as well.
All right. Happy birthday, Charles. Appreciate that and appreciate all the support. Well done, Charles. Sly White, same opportunity for you. Shout outs or thank yous?
The biggest shout out is all my close family and friends. They all support me along the way. It means so much. Also want to thank my teammates. We push each other every day, and this is how we got here to where we are today. So I love them all.
Very good. Well, appreciate you both joining us here on Tornado Talk. It's been an absolute joy to watch you so far this season, but I know we're just getting started. There's plenty more to come for this Brevard College men's basketball team. Best of luck this week with a couple games. We'll see you around campus. Charles Reed, Sly White, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Great stuff there as Charles Reed and Sly White wrap up Tornado Talk for us this evening. And do want to just remind you, this is our final show of the 2023 season, the calendar year. We've still got a couple of basketball games, as we mentioned, coming up this week. There's an opportunity at home on Friday if you want to come on out to the Boschberg Gymnasium. But just want to thank everybody who's helped made this 2023 year such a success, especially our sports information director, Joseph Marvin, and everyone who helps out behind the scenes. Emily Denega and Cassidy Hutto in particular, two of our students, just do some tremendous work week in, week out to help make this Tornado Talk possible, and glad that you continue to tune in. And we look forward to bringing you more Tornado athletic excitement beginning in the new year. Well, stay tuned to all the social media channels here at Brevard College and continue to follow the Tornadoes, Twitter and Instagram at BC Tornadoes, also on Facebook. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you receive all the notifications when the Tornadoes go live. For all of us at Brevard College, have a very happy holiday season. Go Tornadoes.